think I am on. And hello, everybody. Thank you all for showing up. It's nice. Yeah? And I'm going to do some teaching along with the meditation. Today's teaching is going to be about, again, reincarnation. I talk about that all the time. Yeah, but it's hard to, when you're in a life, you're all busy and everything, so it's really hard to relate to what might have been your previous life. You shouldn't really be doing that, yeah. But we all have previous lives. And when I look over life, which to me is like a tree of life, and I see people passing in and out of life, which isn't seen by most people. If you study Babaji or Tibetan Buddhism, you'll find that we find tukus at a young age. We recognize them as friends from previous lives and other students. And, we have a long-standing telepathic rapport with reincarnation and containing the group so that we can all gain more. Yeah. And we have more fun. Yeah, a lot more fun. Yeah. So on higher levels, in my group, if you ever studied anything about Tibetan Buddhism or about masters and things like that, you might find that masters really are musicians, real masters. Yeah, they're not, the individuals who you find who are third-degree initiates, who are usually running centers, teaching events, meditation, things like that. And they're high Rinpoches and they're Dalai Lamas, and they're people out front, people who have students by the thousands. Yeah. Masters do not have students by the thousands. They have friends. Those friends are masters. Yeah. And they just don't relate to the obligation aspect of the lifestyle that goes on with those who aren't masters. So it's really difficult to get masters to come out, and be a part of this thing. So in our process of my externalization, I spent quite a long time helping the masters learn about the 7 rays and the need to play a guitar. And what invocation, evocation is. And that when I come, I'm going to do my pujas. And that's going to be what I'm known for. Yeah. And I'll be a musician. I'll be known for that. And I'll be a singer. And I'll be known for that. Yeah. But not in the normal way, but that is what I'll be known for. Because that is what I'm going to do. And that is what I do real well. Yeah. And in that, I can take my monad and express it. Yeah. And it could resonate all the way down into the material plane and invoke a Devic response, in all the kingdoms. Yeah. And so that changes the genetic code of this planet if masters do that. So I trained that. I taught that. And they got it, because we played together. We became bands. The science of God, how the influence of, there's science in everything. You can understand physics, you can understand engineering, medicine, everything you can understand because God is understandable. That's the second-rate quality of God is understanding. So there's all these chakras that you actually have to become attuned to in order to gain understanding. So none of them could be off, none of them could be misdirected in a delusion or an illusion or self-grandized reality that just escapes the truth. So those things like kings and queens and all those things that people are wrapped up in, that is self-grandization, a self-sense of who they are, what they are. And even if it's the smallest sense, they could be aggrandization to the point that I'm just the lowest person on the planet, I'm just unworthy, I'm just all these different things. Doesn't matter which way you go. Both of them is the ego. And that influence is what causes us to get jealous or envious or attach ourselves to people, places, and things, and then we misuse them, and we have to learn the lesson of karma. Yeah. So everything we get involved with, we have to uninvolve ourselves. You know, and that's karma. It's a process of learning that we go through in life, but it has to do with every one of the 7 chakras that's in you. They all have to be attuned. That doesn't mean you have to become a master. It doesn't mean that you have to attain all these chakric focuses to be absolute. Yeah, it comes from Christ. It's an overshadowing. Yeah, it's not a psychic personal relationship that you've made because you light a lot of candles or you have a strong belief in an attachment to Jesus as a person. It has nothing to do with any of that. Yeah, it just, everybody is as it is. Yeah, it's much more subtle than you think. Yeah, and the more that comes down to its true subtleness, the more the chakras start having a relationship with the rays and the influence of the rays that come out of Christ. Yeah, so it's a difficult thing to change people's karma. Yeah, because they do things to other people. They have desire bodies, and those desire bodies have things, whether it be a desire to get back at somebody, a desire to make sense out of a terrible situation, you know, all these different things that take up a person's life. You know, just living through life, trying to explain it, to understand it. Yeah, it's not understanding that you're dealing with. It's a lack of ability to see it from the position that would allow you to understand it. Yeah, you have to be lifted up, and you have to be reborn. You know, there's a lot of things, but none of those things have to do with you have to attain mastery of a certain gifted power, you know, or anything like that. Yeah, it has to do with everybody receiving a collective consciousness that evolves us all. Yeah, so there's a science involved that effectively distributes the energy of the planetary logos to bring about a balance of change. Yeah, a harmonic influence, and all it is, it's taking what is out there that is very low-minded and had very low-minded intention with very low-minded outcome. Yeah, it all makes sense if you understand it from that level. Yeah, and then there's the influence of greed and all the manipulation on a psychic level that comes in, and they actually affect the chakric ability for you to be in a state in your mind, you know, to where you can attune to the possibility of there being true, real, spiritual beings on this planet. Yeah, because they're not the way you expect them to come. Yeah, they could be a street person, they could be anything. You know, whatever the circumstance is, it's fulfilling the plan of God. You know, so when you're in that situation, you're definitely pulled out of what you think you should be doing, and you're in this wacky-ass situation. And you're basically out of control, but you're dealing with it the best you possibly can. Yeah? And that's an anointment. That's an energy of change. It's a soulful quality. Yeah? And it's not something we ask for. It's something that comes upon us. So it's actually an overshadowing. Yeah? And it recapitulates great abilities that we might have had in previous lives of saying no to demons, saying no to your molester, yeah, saying no to, you know, going along with a gang, you know, and hurting someone or being mean to someone, you know, and just kind of fitting in, you know. And it's so hard not to do that because your mother can make you do this, your father can make you do this, yeah. It just, you know, your school teacher, people you have no idea would do shit like that. And they all come from previous life karmic processes. You know, so there's really no intellectual format that you could deal with to work this thing out. Because it really is about an influence of people's ego and how their ego affects other people to fall out of grace. Yeah. You can have people around that just has all these, all positive things could be going on, but you can have a person that's just won't mention that part, and they'll only mention negative things. Oh yeah, but don't forget, and that just keeps a cloud over the process that doesn't exist. So that's only karma. That has nothing to do with reality. It has to do with karma. And once that person learns that this isn't really how you should see life, and sooner or later you stop saying stuff like that, then the cloud dissipates. And everybody has a better world. And it's not a person this is happening to. It's a mass of humanity that is being healed. And their character, that lacks the virtue that it requires for them to be the person that they were meant to be. Could take many lives from now. Could take 10, 20, or 100 lives. But everybody is going to go through this character change. And every 10 years, it's only going to get more healing. So we step into 2020 to 2030, we're going to have a mass healing just like we had from 2010 to 2020. Everybody had to go through so much dealing with the president or dealing with, illusions and crime and, people getting away with stuff. And it's just like going to a wrestling match and it's fixed. They're acting, but it drives you nuts. Coach, can't you see that he's got that in there? He's going to pull it out. He's going to hard. No, not again. Just freaks you out as though it's really happening. And people buy into that shit left and right. That whole group, football, baseball, everybody's just, no. Joey, how could you miss? We were going to make it. There's 1 million people screaming in a bar, over Joey missing it, And what about Jim, who happened to hit it, and there's another 1 million people, yay, Jim, and they're all going nuts, whether it be down or up, that midpoint that goes like this is where we're getting messed up. When we have a delusion of separation, and we have a delusion that we should have teams that compete against other teams, as though that makes character. Team. The word team itself, means that we're working together as a team, But join one of those teams and you'll find out that's not true. There are certain head people in that team, and you don't hang with those head people. You're back here, you're a halfback or a quarterback, or, you're hanging on your own group, but you're not up there front, where anybody can come and take your position. You're lucky to be there, and they treat you like you're lucky to be there. And you have no idea what it's like in any of those fields, whether you're in basketball, baseball. Most of them are they're thought to be a piece of shit, and they're lucky to be there. Because so many people can come and take their position, other than the pitcher, and maybe 1 or 2 other people out there in that field. So it's a horrible thing to be put in. It's horrible. Football, baseball, basketball, any of it. It's horrible. And all of those are elements of our chakras. That kind of like a machine, God in the machine, where it builds up this astral energy. And people cannot help but react as though they're part of this thing. I have to go to the game. I have to be a part of the Cubs. I have red. I have to wear red today. In my special underwear. Or they're going to lose. And it's true. All of it is paganism all the way through. And it's all kind of like, everybody's going, yeah, sure. But there's movies about it, I mean, really, think about it, They even put angels in the outfield, in order to make such a stupid-ass, illiterate game, a game where the idiots play, the stupid people go, where you can't be an engineer and you can't be a doctor, and all you could do is kick a ball. And you can't go much further than that. Talk to one of those people. See how far you're going to go in a really good conversation. It's not going to go that far. They're going to only know about mansions, Maseratis, you know. What? Oh, I don't know about that. And they got their people who tell them what to do, and they just fall in line. And if they don't fall in line, they're out. So none of this is a part of the soul. It's a very large God in the machine kind of thing. And God in the machine is the fifth ray. You don't know it's the fifth ray, but it's actually in the conjuring state. Those assholes who own the people who play basketball are doing it because they have strong fifth ray tendencies with a strong first ray tendency. And they can't help it because they have those rays. And everybody they're messing with have similar rays. All the football players have first ray tendencies. All the basketball players are really tall. And they love going, very fifth ray. Whether it be baseball, basketball, tennis, first ray, fifth ray. And if you study, what is the Dark Lodge? What is the Dark Lodge? What does it represent? It represents the first ray and fifth ray. And where's the machine of the Dark Lodge? It's in athletics. Not in the field of people going to the gym and exercising and staying healthy. It's in the area of people being conned and hiring people like gladiators. And sending them in for the kill. And just, getting them all the way through grade school, all the way through high school, all the way through the military, all leads up to, oh, could I be the world champion boxer? Could I be, could I be it? And it's all just part of everything that then blends off of that is all the other rays. If you have anything in the fourth ray, anything in the third ray, anything in the second ray, any of those rays get influenced by the overwhelming energy that comes from the fifth ray, first ray. Because these people are the monsters. They're the giants. They're the powerhouse. They have all the money. They have all the power. They're bigger. They're faster. They can throw a ball you can't. All these things that we think are the characteristics of God's gift. And it's not. They've all been honed in to be a machine. They're all just cogs in a machine. And each one has to do exactly. Throw that ball in the weirdest ass way. You cannot do that with your physical body. Even golf. You actually shouldn't do it. It's really bad for you. It completely ruins your whole entire body. You could do Tai Chi, you can do a lot of other things, but anything that leads into a competitive form of sports takes you out of the Chi. And all of a sudden your aggression goes into it, where you could be playing tennis. But no, how fast can I hit that ball? Could it right straight through her eyes? So fast they can't see it. It's just so aggressive. There's so much fire and elemental energy involved in that overshadowing energy that's coming from down below. That's moving people into an action. And then there's the other side. The science of God is to activate the hierarchy through the laws of attraction. Not by me walking in saying, you got to do this, you have to do this, I say this is what you got to do. In the hierarchy, as the head of the hierarchy, I don't do that. I walk in with my own Vajra and nobody else has got one. I made it myself. And all the hierarchy is like, what is that? It's radiating, it's vibrating, it sends electricity through their body when they touch it. They're going crazy over it. Everybody in the hierarchy loves these tools, and all they want to do is learn more about these tools. But it's the same in humanity. It's a law of attraction. So the hierarchy has a great deal of ability to when it walks in the room, be able to respond. Have a response to that. Where in humanity's case, even if you come walking in the room and you hand something to people, there's only one of all chakras, only one chakra of all of them that will have a slight response, and that's the heart center. Somewhere along the line, they were touched by God, saved by God. Grace came into their life, and it saved their life. And it made such a difference from all the turmoil and pain and suffering and questioning that had gone on, that moment, and coming out of it and going, I should be dead. I for sure should be dead. I felt the hand of God. I seen it. I feel it. I do not feel the same way as I did before. I should be dead. And it's not just that cold. This is a real change of rebirth. So the reason why people can respond is because of rebirth. Somewhere along the line, they were reborn. So that response allows them to, when I come with these tools, comes for them to respond to the chakras. Because that's what they're responding to. All of a sudden they just go, I always wanted to meditate. You don't even have to say meditation. They grab the tool, I've been thinking about meditation. It immediately brings to mind. All the teachings that I do immediately comes to mind. It begins helping the person in their process of releasing their lack of ability to not have that knee-jerk response to being a part of the team. Being that weak, and the other influences that come with the solar plex. So a stronger heart is the one quality that makes humanity change dramatically. So with the hierarchy having a response, the more that they have a response, the more their influence comes into response, and the more that these tools, automatically people start going, oh, I've had that Vajra for 20 years, and I've only used it a few times. But here I go to Nepal, and I got all this going on, I come back, another cycle goes around, and people just go, wow, I had a dream of that Vajra. I think I'll go find it. Then they get a phone call from Shambhala, and I said, what? I was just picked out of my drawer an etheric weaver, and I just don't have the music. And oh well, let me give it to you. You can download it right now. So that happens a lot. And that influence is the slow process of the science of God. It's a slow process because you might be attracted to just coming to the tool or just going in to the pyramid. But in the beginning, when people came to Shasta, when I opened up the very first center, everybody who came in was exercised, and they screamed. They screamed. All the Sangha is like, what do we do? They're in this room over here, and this person's screaming and flailing, and another person's over here hollering, and there's nobody in the room but them. What do we do? And I just say, just let them do it. Make sure they got their headsets on, let them get through it, come out the other end, see if they want to come back. It wasn't really the big, what you're experiencing today. Because it doesn't matter who you are. We are all one world with one major lie and a whole bunch of demons, and you're listening to their music. You're watching their movies. You could be a part of their team, watching it on football or having friends that watch basketball or your father who still loves, all this stuff. It's really hard to detach, to disengage. So then these people slowly but surely die. They leave the body. Time goes on. And all this stuff is not sticking with us. All this sports and all these things that we think there's no way that they can go away. It's got to be bigger, better, than it is today. But in 15 years, we'll be tearing down coliseums. Because we just simply cannot afford another empty Colosseum. Nobody's showing up. Yeah? And if God has to create virus after virus after virus, that's what needs to be done. Yeah? Because we're in the quickening of this process. And the quickening means that we need not to support it. It means a whole lot of people is going to not be able to go to work. Even though they got a job and they got money that they need, to pay bills with and everything, but they still can't go to work. Yeah? And those who are to survive will survive, and those who aren't to survive won't survive. And a whole bunch of stuff that everybody thought was absolutely impossible for it to go away starts going away. Yeah? And when people move in, more and more time goes on. We're just in the year 2020. By the year 2030, we'll be at such a place to where everybody will be 100% more moderate in relationship to finding out that they can actually not have to spend so much money, to have to make so much money, but they can actually save a bunch of money. Yeah? And if they actually know what they're supposed to be eating, yeah, then for a whole week or a year, you have a complete idea as to what you're going to eat. You can figure out the source where you're going to get it, and you could substantially make things more healthy, a lot cheaper, and everybody in that process. Just imagine everybody, like right now, we're interested in buying electric cars, but what's driving us to that? It's not like, well, they're going to take away all the gas cars, so we better start buying them. That's really not the thought. It's their consciousness. Yeah? So it's the same consciousness that's going to enter people in their relationship to buying from Amazon. Yeah? And going to the store and buying from all these grocery aisles that you buy from. Yeah? Taking responsibility. Once you buy the right thing, get into the right thing, then you have the ability to respond. And until that begins, you're stuck in all the wrong responses and all the wrong choices. And every time you want to do something, it keeps coming back. You'll be late. It won't work. It's like, what's going on? Yeah. And it's all about whether or not the choices that you're given are choices that are overshadowed by the plan. Yeah. And we're just now entering into a field where things are coming out that are overshadowed by the plan, which means your home, your electricity, your car, and even how you think about your income. How much you need to make and how long you can survive on such and such. What kind of house can you actually live in? That may take until 2025. A lot of people, they're thinking right? And then they go, wow, I can do this. I can live in a lot smaller house. I'm going to start looking online. Yeah. So another year passes. We're in 2026. And people are just going, wow, I'm going to start thinning out, I'm going to get rid of everything. I have a yard sale, the whole bit. They're making a little money, and they're spending a lot less money because they're already putting everything into practice. Yeah? They're getting a gym membership. They're actually doing it. Yeah? They're going to the gym now. They're actually doing it. And every time all these choices come up, and you make those choices, you're working inside the field of karma. Yeah? And when we do that, a whole other thing takes place. We become the Holy Spirit, and it unties the knots of the machine. God and the machine. It ties everybody up into their karma, like knots. Once you get in the machine, it's hard to get out, because now you know you're going to get a paycheck. Now you know what you're going to do. You're lucky to be there. All these hooks are like everywhere. And it just makes it seem as though it's the right thing to be doing. But the influences by the year 2030, so many new alternatives and choices are going to be out there, where people are just going to be going, a $45,000 house is a lot better deal than this $700,000 house I got that I owe $650,000 on. And it's going to take me 30 years to get that down just a little bit, And, so I'm actually owned by this house. I don't own the house. I'm owned by the house. So if I can let go of that, then get into a house that I can sell and resell and let other people enjoy, be in it for a period of time, and just go from this house to another house, at staying at $40,000 to $60,000. Yeah, just fluidly. You can just fluidly, according to your growth. What more do you need? Oh, now I figured out, I actually need this kind of house that's facing south, and I would really like it if I had a greenhouse, and that would really further what I want, You're making choices. So as you make those choices, another 4 or 5 years goes by, now you start studying, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. So you're actually building strength and courage and character. Yeah? And you're digging yourself out of a hole. Does that make sense? And you're doing this all on your own. Yeah, you're not doing it because somebody's doing this for you. Yeah, not because you got a better job. Yeah, not because you're a part of the great mass of people buying these really lavish houses and selling them for more money, making money off of other people. Instead, we're going to move into this other thing. And then as that goes on, we start having these things like sharing going on with cars and housing itself, and travel, and all these different things that opens up the field of, oh, wow, I didn't know that could happen. I didn't know that could be part of life. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, I'm going to investigate that, and you spend another year on it, and then now year 2030 comes, and you've already got in your belt a life that you put in 10 years on, that you built a whole other person, and that's not the way it was before. A lot of times we would go 20 or 30 years, we'd still be the same person, living in the same house, or going from house to house and going downhill in the process. Yeah, and stress is just building up. Because the only way we can get out of this is by healing the karma. And the karma gets healed by the evaporation of not us making bad choices, but us furthering other people in making bad choices. Because every time we make a good choice and we go, okay, I'm going to do this, and then you further your way through it, you get to that, you're making a waveform for masses of other people. Because you have to study, you have to, check things out, and all of a sudden now what you're studying, if you look on YouTube, you go, wow, the interest of that is over 150,000 people are watching the same thing I just watched. That's because you are an energy. Yeah? And the people watching this is an energy. Yeah? And if you follow yourself in your study, in your relationships, you'll see that what you study grows as an interest inside of society. Yeah? If you're really doing the right things. Yeah? And that's where everything motivates everything into the process where instead of recapitulating into some, magical mystery school, we're recapitulating into the tree of life. And we're learning about that we can live and that we can survive and we can live a very long, long time, in a world without having to think we have to do certain things in order to get through our life, to be productive, a productive member of society, where in reality, just by producing happiness could be all that God is asking for. That He's not, like, oh, you're not happy, you're ruining the world, But the outcome of happiness is what radiates into the process of humanity. And it comes from working out karma. You don't get the sense of happiness until karma gets to a certain point and leverage goes over, and all of a sudden you're reaping good karma. And that comes in the form of happiness. Yeah. So in this process of healing, I had put together a bunch of pujas. And they're all just meditation, invocation, evocations that everybody listens to, and they go, oh, that's wild, because I got so many, and if you go on to 7 rays of God, to the 7 chakras, aligning the 7 rays of God to the 7 chakras, and you actually take the time to listen to it, you can come up with a lot of, whoa, that's heavy, that's amazing, what does that mean, the 6th ray to the 2nd ray, and then the, 7th ray to the third eye. Wow, what is he saying? What is it? Throat chakra. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's going to the throat chakra. So as you're listening, more and more times as you listen to it, you can actually see that I'm illustrating you. Yeah? So that you yourself can experience the waves of consciousness that come with what I'm saying. Yeah? Because it's an etheric level of your truth. I'm talking to you as a monad. And as I speak to you as a monad, you only can relate to me as the monad. Yeah? So there's no learning process going on. Yeah? It just is what it is. And everything moves in that way. And you have an extreme clarity. There's no material aspect to this teaching. Yeah? It is totally of a esoteric form. Yeah? Just like if you study in the truth of esoteric reality, you might go, 7 colors, you know what they are. Well, in exoteric, you know what they are. Exoteric. Yeah? They look this way, they have this color, all these spectrums. But esoteric is very different. Yeah? It has, within it, it has an energetic field. Yeah? And that energetic field has principles, and that comes from Christ. And there are values and virtues that radiate out of Christ, out of each one of those chakras, that come out of him when he says something or does something. Yeah? And it's an interaction to an element of a situation. Yeah? Whether it be hard, concrete, I can't deal with that, I don't know how to deal with that, It takes the Christ principle to go to a certain chakra, to raise that chakra up to the chakra that's balanced, and allows whoever it is that's imbalanced become balanced. Yeah? So that's what Christ does. Yeah? So I put together this video to better explain how it is I do this in the science of God. Yeah? It shows that I actually create the etheric weaver for a specific reason, for a specific chakra system. Yeah? And do the same thing with the Vajra. Yeah? And same with the head pyramid. Yeah? So as you watch this video, and you need to watch the video while you're doing the meditation, because then you got to read things, It's going to be really hard. It's not going to, it's not like, what did it say? What did it say? Did you, wait, can you go back? You're going to listen, and you need to pay attention and read it, and, it has a great deal of effect. It's another way of me helping bring this into a balance. Because it's a monadic interpretation rather than just how we may think this is going on a personal level. Oh, this is coming up into my throat center, this is coming up into that. But in reality, it's coming from the Archangel Metatron. The Archangel Metatron creates this spiritual reality. Yeah? And that spiritual reality comes with the overshadowing influence of creating 2 vehicles, a male and female vehicle. Yeah? And that comes out of Metatron. Nothing else exists. There's nothing else there. Just 2 vehicles. Yeah? And from that, each one of these sacred geomancies, the influence of the etheric weaver, the Vajra, the head pyramid, all of that, and all the sacred reality of the earth, whether it be Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid, all these sacred realities of the earth, all go passing in during this invocation. And they invoke the healing between male and female. Yeah, that's the only thing that's going on. It's not making them anything other than complementary to the Lord, creating the ashram. Yeah, so those 2 represent all of humanity. Yeah, you can, because we're all just male or female. And I know that's a debate, but where I come from, we are all male and female, yeah, and with that in mind, God can actually fulfill the plan, yeah, because it's based on chakras, and the chakras of a female align differently than the chakras of a male, even though they're in the same positions and everything, but it requires the loving understanding and complementation of trust, not competition, but complementation, that allows those chakras to then go back and forth, and those changes, those things that make up a woman to make a woman become a woman, and those things that make up a man to make a man become a man, actually are transmitted between each other. Yeah? And that becomes the archetype. But it's not done because one is superior or the other. It's done because they become unified with love. And out of that, they impress back and forth love. And that's an equal scenario. Yeah? No one's doing one over the other, no one's superior than the other. Yeah? But that's all done by the auspicious influence of the Lord. Does that make sense? They're just being overshadowed. They're just one of all of humanity. Just imagine just plucking two of one of all of humanity. Beep, 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 boop. Sit there. Okay. Now I'm going to meditate. Yeah? And that's the same thing. It's holding a vibrational relationship to what's sacred but isn't recognized as sacred. There's nothing recognized as sacred between male and female. Yeah? Because you walk into the church and they say, you're born sin. Yeah? You're born evil. So, you're going to have to work it out. Yeah? So that's not a truth. The truth is that we all have this process within as long as we're touching the monadic frequency. So I'm going to show this to you. We'll do the first meditation with that. And then, there we go. Now what do I do with it? Got to find it. Just a second. Oh, okay. Okay, let's do the invocation. Okay, just repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, watch the video. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. To guide you into the right activity in the plan. the seventh ray. To your sacral center. Alignment of the second ray to your heart center. I invoke the alignment of the sixth ray to your solar plexus. Of the fourth ray to your base center. I invoke the alignment of the fifth ray of the Christ within. I invoke the nature of the Buddha that you are to become. Focus on the screen. I invoke the mind of the Devic angelic beingness that you can be. Seven rays of I invoke the celestial spheres, the sounds of heaven, the sounds of God, the song of love. Okay, just relax. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a couple of pictures here. This is Sharmapa, Sharma Rinpoche. This is the young Tuku who's taken a new incarnation and now coming under me soon. And the rest of them are all under, been going through a lot of process, trying to get through what's going on and has been going on in Tibetan Buddhism. So now at this time, in this picture, these people have taken refuge and they know their future is set in a certain way, and that I'll return and continue teaching and foster their tuku and them, and all the relationships that they have, I'm going to go to, like Bhutan and other places, and help strengthen those relationships. Others, they have relationships to Dorje Chungden. I will go to their relationships and strengthen those relationships so that all the Dharma is empowered by my blessing. Yeah, and it's all done by me passing these tools around. This is another Tuku. Yeah, this is Lumbum Tuku. He's the little boy that used to be the little boy, yeah, and now grown up, and he's receiving his Vajra, and he's receiving his solar form, and he's on to school and everything, and now his process is within this next 10 years, we develop more and more relationship to him, finishing in what it is that he's doing, and then we all join together in a process of doing blessings, using my tools and the science of God. So in 2 to 3 years, he'll begin training under the newly born Tuku Shema Rinpoche, who is now only about 2 years old, a year and a half old. Within 5 years, he will be at a point of speaking, and we'll begin our relationship just like it did with this one at that same age. So all of them are going to be re-empowered in this process over this next cycle between the year 2020 and the year 2030. And this is the Maitreya Vihar in Swayambhu, and they've received their Christ star, which is awesome for Swayambhu, the first monastery of Tibet to accept Jesus Christ as the incarnation of Maitreya. Yeah, so they've done this now for almost 20 years, and it's where Lumbum Tuku also comes from. So I hold the seat at this monastery. And these are just one of many tools that I'm in process of passing on. I've introduced soul therapy, they've all received the blessings and a lot of healing, but they're surrounded by the Dark Lodge telling them not to do certain things and stay away from the light. Yeah, so that is changing. And it's all based on the science of God, not based on these people being in a fanatical relationship of dependency on a false prophet. Yeah, no dependency. This is all their self-realization, and when they see these tools, they realize that, and they know that the only way they're going to help anybody else is by getting these tools to them and helping them gain self-realization. And they know this is the only way that it can be done. Yeah. So this one that you're seeing here next to Shema Rinpoche is his disciple. And he is the senior Lama in charge of Lumbini's monastery of the Kajupa lineage. Yeah, so he jumped out of his seat, ready to start taking these tools on. So I initiated the process for him to take on the responsibility in Lumbini, and he's now in a food program over there along with the nuns, and they're doing their food program right there in Lumbini. But that's how we're working together, is by these tools. And for the last 20 or more years, I've been doing this in Kathmandu, where I'm just sitting on top of a building and meditating. No one knows that I'm there, no one knows anything is going on, but I am moving everything. And I'm blessing all these people of Tibet and people of Nepal and everything. And this is years and years and years and years and years before I ever get to the point to where they can meet me. I bless them and change their lives. And so in the same way, I put these tools in the stupa, and I bless that and bless all the karma in relationship to every living human being that was tortured during the time of Tibetan Buddhism, all the way back, all the way up to this point, where Buddha Maitreya says that's the end of that. and I'm put into this Namgyal stupa. And that's a stupa of medicine Buddha. It's the stupa that represents me. Yeah, so this is, in Tibetan Buddhism, this is the most powerful thing you could do. Of all ceremonies, in all actions that we could do to make a blessing for humanity that would last for thousands of years and turn the wheel of Dharma, maintaining Buddha's impression onto the earth as an overshadowing, making it possible for the overshadowing to take effect. A lot of things like this get done, but then they get screwed over. People go in and steal the gold and steal the statues, and it loses its vibration. Yeah, and that's happened all throughout Tibet, all throughout the world. Yeah, so I'm reinitiating the awakening parts of God's reality, the working out of the plan, and the ending of the machine. Allowing it to be revelation, because when you go into around these places, your fifth ray opens up, and all of a sudden it reveals you spirituality, even though you're in the middle of a trash heap. Yeah, does that make sense? Because nothing will tell you to get rid of the trash heap faster than the fact that you're standing on spiritual land, and this is wrong. Yeah, and that's everything that I do, is to help you see everything for what it really is, that it has a soul, and you need to see what's wrong with it and fix it. And we're going to live long enough to clean every mountain and every stream and everything, as our life service. And that's just the way it's going to be. It's not going to be hard, not going to be difficult, but it will be due to our karma of not buying every day from Amazon and not going to the store every day, to the malls, because the malls are shutting down, so there ain't going to be no more going to the stores. And Amazon is just another mall. So it's in the same spiraling process of getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah, it's just like fast food. I can get it tomorrow, it's free. They really get a hook. Yeah. So all of this in the healing process is based on this work, transmission, and the healing. So it's about the power, the love, and the wisdom of our ashram, soul, and monad. And the tools, every time we go out to a show or we call someone, let people know that, to remind them, you have no idea that your action of doing that is really big in the angelic realm. And they're pulling strings for you. If you're willing to be the angel of their representative on earth. But if you're not, they're going to pull all those strings, and those people won't get the phone call. Does it make sense? You just send an email and wait for them to call you or something, But these people need to be touched, and the angel's doing it. The angel's going to go look in the closet, clean your house up, and finally, your weaver, oh wow, lining things up. That's the seventh ray. It's how the angels, myself, all of this works in the healing process, that we begin miracles. We initiate through miracles. And people aren't expecting them, and they're going to happen, but they require human intervention in order to be a representative, a part of that plan. So that's what Sangha's for, to help people realize that this stuff is available. And even though you do have a Vajra, you might want to listen to the music, because that's when the angels step into the room. And you ain't had nothing yet until you actually have the gazillion angels that hang around me come into your life. It changes everything. Because they're all incarnated outside of you, hanging out in the world, asleep, afraid. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, that's it. Enjoy.